Well, welcome. So please share a little bit about Ron Emig. If you would look at the camera and talk to our viewers out there worldwide and give them a little bit of a picture.
I was born and raised in St. Louis, but lived in this area since '86. Have 2 children and 2 grandchildren. And I've been involved with art all my life, basically, since I could hold a pencil.
Oh, excellent.
Always been drawing horses and cowboys, and it's what I do today.
So you're sort of the cowboy artist in our neighborhood, you might say.
I guess so. I guess you could
Great.
say that.
So what basically inspired you? You know, we talk in the show, different artists and I, we talked about it sort of being in our blood, or our DNA as they call it now.
Do you ever feel like you were born in the wrong century? Yeah, well, I've gone out west for photo shoots for reference material to do this art, and the ones that are the Western genre, that's where they're from.
Well, what is your subject and favorite subject matter?
I would say the Old West is my top, but I have a fond spot in my heart for wildlife also.
Wildlife also. All right. And your favorite medium, as I understand, well, we're looking at 2 different awesome mediums that Ron has put together here. He's going to take us on a tour of this. So your favorite mediums I've described to our viewers.
I would say they're equally split between oil painting and sculpture, bronze sculpture, but bronze has a special place in my heart.
Oh, yes.
I'm new to that. I've only been doing that for about 10 years. I was oil painter before that.
And you're like me, you love the magic of oils probably when you turn to the brush.
You got it.
That's for sure. Well, I'd like to, if you could, step us through the procedure that you use to complete a project. Now, we're dealing with 2 different mediums, so.
Correct. There are some similarities. I usually start with a reference photo, one that I've taken from a photo shoot. But then I'll do some thumbnail sketches and to work out the composition. Once that's done, then I'll enlarge it to fit the canvas, or in the case of a sculpture, then you have to worry about your armature and you build it to fit in.
Yes. Is there a technique or one process you'd like to share with the viewers?
Most folks are familiar with the painting aspect of, and that, but I get more questions on doing the sculpture, How do you do this? Do you fire it in a kiln? Do you put it in an oven? Do you do this, do that? And I go through the explanation with them, and they're truly surprised at the involvement that there is in doing a bronze from start to finish. Well, I do what is called a lost wax technique.
Lost wax?
Yes, and it basically what I do, and I'll show you later in the tour, of one of the originals that I worked on in the clay, but that clay is then formed into a mold. They made a mold of it out of silicone rubber, and then they make a wax cast of that. The wax cast is then sent to a foundry where they submerge that in like a slip and to make a vessel for that. Then they put that in a kiln and melt that wax out, hence the lost wax. And then the bronze goes in that. And then they weld it back together depending on how many pieces are involved. Some of these are 2 or 3 pieces, some of them are 13 or 14 pieces. They have to cut up the original to make what they're doing.
And then basically weld it together.
Correct.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. But I'm going to step out of the frame here and let Mr. Emig take over.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Well, we could start with the paintings on the wall since they're close by here. This one, the dapple gray, is a horse, that I've always been fond of. And then as we move on down the line, I do work with some historical figures and wildlife. This was a wolf that I had taken some photos of up in Montana last year. And we got the white-tailed deer from Missouri. Everybody's familiar with that one. And down here, as we move down the way here, we'll be getting into some of the bronzes, and we can kind of take a look at that. We have a turkey, a wolf, and one that in the middle there that I'm kind of fond of is called Eureka. It's a prospector, prospecting for gold, and he's found a little nugget. Everybody likes that pearl with the hat on him. This bronze here actually started from a photograph that I took up in South Dakota. And then I was at Silver Dollar City doing demonstrations one year and decided to try to make a bronze out of it, so I did the original down there. And the nugget is my favorite part of this thing, in addition to the hat on the donkey. And then we have different eras, the Mountain Man era. This was done from Colorado, this was done from a shoot up in South Dakota. And then as we move down, we've got another bronze that is called Buffalo Robe, and because of obviously the Buffalo Robe. This next bronze is called Nighthawker, and when they did cattle drives, they had to have somebody to watch the herd at night, and he was the Nighthawker. And then we get into I do some miniature pieces too. These are little 5x7s. This is of a Missouri guerrilla after the Civil War. And then we get into more wildlife with a wolf and a raccoon, buffalo, bear, elk. This one over here in the corner is a small portrait I did of a paint horse. I'm kind of fond of that one too. I like the looseness of that. And then the buffalo, bison bull coming out of the dust. This one here, this painting is a 24 by 36. This is the most recent one I've done. It's a Pony Express rider. Came from an image that I took at a photo shoot out in Kansas, and it's called Thunder Rides with a Little Jack on the Rocks. If you look closely, there's a jackrabbit down here sitting on the rocks. And then we get into more bronzes. This is more the Mountain Man era in a canoe. Also did one of a mule called Field Tested, and always liked mules. This one here is one of my recent bronzes that just got back from the foundry about a month ago, and it's of a cowboy pushing a longhorn up a hill, and it's called the Roundup. And then we have some more oil paintings. A friend of mine, Bob, as a shotgunner for a stage line. And then we have a small painting of a Indian woman called Contemplation. Several people have mentioned that they care for that one a lot. And this one on the end here is an original clay for bronze. This is what I do. If I want to make a bronze, I have to do an original, and I use an oil-based clay. And this is what the mold is made from. This one was called Chief Joseph Surrenders. As we get to the end here of this little section of the gallery, I've got another fox and a old sheep wagon there, a couple of miniatures. As we come to this table here, there's a couple of different mediums here. It's bronze in the middle, but these others are on the side are fired clay. These are kiln fired clay. Like this one's one of my favorites, the Joker. Every outfit's got a Joker. But and Sitting Bull and Buffalo Bill are a couple of ones that I've done of historical figures. I like to do that sometimes. This one in the middle here is called The Chase Is On. This is probably one of my favorite ones. It was a commission piece originally, and it was a challenge to do. It changed quite a bit in its creation, but it's of an Indian on a horseback, Appaloosa, with a spear chasing a buffalo so the tribe can eat for a week. And but I was pretty pleased with the results of that. On the wall, we've just got a few more wildlife and Western genre pieces, and this is a recent one I did from a photo shoot up in Montana last year, and of a wolf and a duck kind of having a confrontation there. And then as we move to this last table here, this is the last piece that I had done. It's called Collision Course, and this one had a lot of problems with it because it was, as I spoke before, there was many pieces in a bronze. It features a mountain man on a horse rearing with his pack mule, and they're coming around the corner of a mountain trail, and they come face to face with a mountain lion. I can imagine what that felt like.
Excellent tour, oh my goodness. Oh, such great work, awesome work. It reminds me of the Old West, that's for sure, Ron.
That's where my heart
is. Yes. Now, you do commission work. Would you like to tell the folks, the new viewers, how to get a hold of you worldwide, I guess?
Through my website at emigartstudio.com, or email is ronemig@gmail.com, or my phone is 573-578-8534.
Well, that was a great tour, Ron. Thank you once again.
Thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.